parolee at large. We see speeds right now in the 40s, nearing 50, but Christine Devine is next to me. I'm Marla Tejas, and when we picked this up earlier, Christine, we saw some extremely dangerous driving on city streets. Location right now, the 60 in Boyle Heights.
Yeah, this one is a dangerous one. You see the speeds there. You see this vehicle. As Marla said, possible parolee. We understand there are 2 people in this vehicle. Again, it began in East LA around 7:45 tonight, so it's not been going that long. You see law enforcement right there on the scene. Joining us live to break this down is our police expert, Tim Lynn. Tim, what do you make of this one?
It's our normal everyday pursuit that we have here in Los Angeles, but this one has that extra added bonus of a parolee at large inside. And the driving, as you said, was very extreme at the beginning. They attempted one pit maneuver and put damage on that vehicle you can see there on the left rear. But it also disabled a police vehicle as well. Apparently that police vehicle was left smoking behind, and they're checking on that officer. But right now it's looked like it's going to pick up the 60 freeway here as they continue out. It says west right now, but I believe it was on the eastbound side working its way out. I'm looking at the radar, and it does show the track is to the east. So right now, LA County Sheriff's is staying with us. And one thing I'll note about this pursuit with LA County Sheriff's, LA County Sheriffs are really quick to call off pursuits when they get a little bit too fast. But with the information they have on this vehicle, they're sticking with it. So that tells me that the person inside is a felony. He's wanted for some other major crime versus just a reckless DUI trying to evade, because most of the time they won't let the cars chase at that point and just have the area unit stick with it until it comes to a stop. But you can see it here, still continuing on this East 60 coming up on Valley, and this is up there as we continue on. Looks like he's pulling over to the right side, maybe taking the exit here. I believe this might be the 710 or the Valley, the area there. But right now, luckily, the speeds are down on the freeway here. No danger to other motorists in the area, but LA County Sheriffs will just stick with it until they can either pit the car or it finally disables and stops on its own.
Yeah, I mean, this is a much more less hectic scene right now than what we saw earlier. Tim, I know you were watching it along with us on those surface streets, literally weaving out, like threading a needle of some traffic on the city streets. It was really dangerous. So this is a better view, if you will. Nonetheless, still a danger to everybody on the road tonight, given a parolee at large, possible parolee at large, suspected reckless DUI driver as well. What does that add to this in terms of the danger, in terms of the strategy of bringing this to an end, knowing that it is a possible parolee?
It all depends on the information that they have and what the parole is now. A parolee at large is a person who's been paroled for prison and has not reported or got in contact with their parole agent. And once they go into that status of parolee at large, it is a felony want, and they can be taken into custody. So now you have to determine what is the charges that had him in prison, had this person in prison. Was it a violent crime? Do they have other information of weapons in the car, or possible this person is always armed when he's running around? But it's all kinds of things that go on back behind the scenes in dispatch, along with the watch commander trying to pull intelligence on this person in the car. But to have the information of a possible parolee at large, and then the reckless DUI, that reckless DUI pretty much takes a back seat, because now they have a felony suspect that's probably a violent felony, and so that's why they're sticking with it, because like I said, normally LA County Sheriffs will bail out. Now we're making all these turns now down in the East LA area here at the small streets. It's very crowded there, and now we deal with the cross traffic and also pedestrians in here. Even at this time of night, there's always folks out on the street. So maybe looking for something there, right there, weaving through cars just trying to park and making those turns without even slowing down. Possibly looking for a place to get out, go on foot, get into an area they're familiar with, so they can run to maybe a safe house or some place that they know the people that live there, or maybe into their own residence, which normally doesn't happen, but a situation like this.
Tim, we're going to interrupt here.
We're bailing out.
Yeah, right here. So you see the vehicle just came to an immediate stop and now back in action. We see that from time to time where they kind of hint like they're going to make a move. And keep in mind, too, there are two people in this vehicle. And, Tim, you have to wonder, was perhaps there a move to either let the passenger out, or are they at a location that was familiar to them and they were deciding what to do? But whatever it is, this chase is back on. It started in East LA. It's back in East LA. Also, what do you make of that?
It's going back to familiar territory. You see, he's going down the same streets here again. He made the right turn and made another right turn. So maybe at a point like that, when he came up to stop there, the cars were a little bit too close and didn't feel good to get out of the vehicle, because what they want to do is try to put as much distance between them and the units behind to try to get a head start on running, but turning right back down the Hamel, the same street we were just on, weaving, going a little bit faster. So this driver is staying in an area that they're familiar with. You could tell just by circling these blocks. Also, this is causing people down to hear all this commotion in the neighborhood. And this might...
we got to run. We got a foot bail from the driver, now the passenger as well. And then there was staging already with those officers. So now the chase is on.
This person's pretty fast. Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah. They're running into this area here to where they're going to stay with this person here. This is the driver. Threw something out.
Was that a tase, a potential tase?
I don't know. I didn't see that part. I saw him put his hand in his waistband and come out in his right hand with something. And right here, running out of gas. Yep. I can't run anymore. I give up. There is a taser there out. So I don't know if that was a taser. I was more concentrating on his right hand that came out of his waistband as he was running and had it back. And I was hoping that wasn't a gun, that he was just going to start firing back. But the other person there, I don't know if they've got them there. Yeah. Do they have something? Yeah, have something, because they have two in custody. Looks like a kid.
Yeah, I was going to say, does that look like a child?
Or a small female.
Maybe a woman?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Obviously, they're detaining that person as well at the moment. Police did have a head start in the fact because they were out of their vehicle already when this driver decided to stop the car and make a run for it. So instead of having to pull up and stop the car, you had officers that were already on foot and able to chase this person down. What would it be like or feel like, do you think, Tim, to have an officer behind you with a taser?
If he hits you with it, it's not going to feel good. And nowadays, they practice in prison how to defeat that. But I would have to look at the policy and procedures. Some departments have policy procedure where you cannot shoot somebody running with a taser because of the possibility of injuries at the end. But this one here, when this came to an end, those officers were out on foot. They more than likely were going to try and set a spike strip. And right here, that's where his hand came out, and he kind of threw it to his hand. So if he threw something out, they may have something on the ground there. He may have ditched a weapon at that point. But we'll see. Hopefully they'll light it up, and then Skyfox will get a pretty good close-up of it. But I saw that right hand come out of his waistband. Something was in it. I immediately thought it may be a weapon, but it could have been, and he was just going to toss it. But we could find out here a little bit once Skyfox gets a better shot. But the officers, running from the street, there was more than likely a spike strip that was going to be set up to try to get him coming around that corner, because he was staying in the same box as he goes around the different right turns. And luckily, they were able to, start that foot chase, and the suspect running through these neighborhoods until he just basically ran out of energy, and it just came to a stop, luckily, peacefully at the end. And we'll have to figure out who that passenger was, if it was a small juvenile or maybe a small female. But luckily, everybody's in custody and nobody's hurt.
Yeah, coming to an end outside of what appears to be sort of a housing complex, apartment complex here in East LA, which is, by the way, where this started.
Well, Tim, also, I want to note that if this is indeed a possible parolee, you have to wonder what this person had been in prison for, in jail for, and how concerned law enforcement was that this person get away or get into somebody else's home or property or car.
Correct. That's what I was mentioning before. They were trying, if you're on parole, you've done state time, which is a felony. More than likely, with the way the officers were staying with the chase with the LA County Sheriffs, more than likely was a violent felony, and they had more information on that driver. I'd like to be able to go back and have the booth be able to go back and rack up to where he ran, but he pulled his hand out, had it to the side. And I'm just wondering if there was a shot fired at that point or not, but it definitely looked like something in his hand, and maybe at that point is where he threw the gun. That'll be an added case or added parolee with a weapon. If he turns out to be the parolee, more than likely he is. And then they could add that charge on. But as you're a police officer in a chase, you try to get as much information from the station about the person you're chasing so you can be ready to go at the end, because you don't know what you're chasing when you're behind it, other than a reckless DUI. Then they get the information on the parolee at large. More than likely it was a want on the license plate. Where they got that information from, but it sure turned into something different once that person got out and started running. So I'm really curious to see what he pitched away as he went down between those buildings.
We are curious too. We will certainly follow up. In the meantime, we're going to wrap it up here of this suspected DUI pursuit. It came to an end in East LA where it began. Tim Lynn, police expert, we thank you as always for jumping on.
Good night.
Good night to you. All right, moving on to this developing story at 8 o'clock. It's being called a freak accident in Van Nuys. A person hit and killed by a semi-truck in a grocery store parking lot. Good evening, everybody. We'll officially welcome you and let you know that you're watching LA Live News tonight. I'm Marla Tejas.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Devine. Let's talk about that tragic and unusual accident in Van Nuys tonight. A person killed after being hit by that semi-truck in that parking lot.
Fox 11's Rachel Aragon. She's live with where police are calling this that tragic accident. Rachel?
Yeah, very unfortunate indeed. I can tell you as of right now at 8:10 or so, that semi-truck has since been removed. But I'm going to step back to paint a better picture as to what exactly happened. We know that semi-truck you're about to see, it was a John's Fresh Marketplace semi-truck that was trying to navigate through this parking lot for the connecting grocery store. Well, take a look at video from earlier today. The chopper video showing that John's Fresh Marketplace semi-truck appearing to make a right turn into the parking lot in front of the grocery store. Now, again, this is right off of Van Nuys Boulevard near Van Oven Street. Several people who live and work nearby claim the man was homeless. Police tell me as of right now they could not determine whether or not the man was unhoused or not, but they did say the 55-year-old man appeared to be laying on the ground or sleeping when he was struck by that semi. Police also say as for the driver himself, it was not a DUI and they don't believe he had any bad intent.
It's just an accident. It looks like the semi-truck was trying to navigate through this parking lot, attempted a really tight turn, and unfortunately there was a pedestrian that was laying down or sleeping on the floor next to where the semi-truck was making that movement.
Now, police also tell me the driver himself, though, did stay on scene and was cooperating, of course, with police. A lot of people, though, were here earlier for that man who did pass away, of course. Coming up later on at 9 and 10, we'll hear more from the people in the community. But again, just a tragic day here in Van Nuys. Reporting live, I'm Rachel Aragon. I'll send it back to you.
So, Rachel, as you just reported, the driver is cooperating. Does this mean that he will not face any sort of charges?
Correct. That's my understanding. The police told me that there is really no criminal case here. Again, they believe that this was an accident. Of course, the investigation will continue, but as of an hour ago or so, they said there's no crime involved at this hour. So just a tragic, of course, accident here. Yeah.
Sounds like it. All right. Thank you so much.
ICE raids continue to take people and spark protests across the country. There was a major ICE raid in downtown LA's Fashion District in June.
They returned again today in what was described as a chaotic scene and prompting statements from city officials. We go live to Fox 11's Ed Lascos in downtown LA with more. Ed.
Now, Christine, lots of reaction coming in on this latest raid. Several ICE raids taking place through the area today, but we're talking about the one down in the Fashion District, an area that is still reeling following a big raid there last summer, and now the Fashion District targeted yet again. Watch. ICE in the Fashion District. Their white vans pelted, hit with flying debris. This latest raid by federal immigration officers sending people running everywhere.
And everybody was running left and right and going inside the shops. One of my girls started bringing down the gate because they were scared.
Most running into stores, hiding behind the racks of clothing, hiding in the back stock rooms, hiding everywhere.
The people is running and scared, and then into the business. The people walk inside, and then they're not scared, and then, oh my God, the ICE is here.
ICE is here, and in several other parts of the city, from Koreatown to Pico Union, their raids bringing the very same chaos.
They were just panicking. They were just running left and right and screaming. I was sort of crying because I see everyone running.
Well, they did over there. Over there. They did get some people.
Several people are detained, with Mayor Karen Bass firing back at the feds, accusing them of a reign of terror. Quote, this purposeful campaign of fear and intimidation by the administration is unacceptable. These tactics do not make anyone safer. They only sow terror in our communities and disrupt basic principles of safety in our city. And for the fashion district, it's a major blow to their business.
It's empty. Nobody's around here because they're scared. People are just crying.
And now, live, that is a big part of this continuing story. The business council that oversees the economic situation down there in the fashion district has really been trying to pump more energy, more business there, trying to get it back up on its feet since that big raid last June. And so many of the shopkeepers, shop owners down there today telling me that this latest ICE activity, latest ICE raid, as the one lady said, really flushes everything down the drain. They're really, really concerned because everybody's scared, ladies. They're not showing up, and they're fearful of even more raids to come.
They talk about this gap in between the raids that we've been talking about here, and that workers did come back for a bit, and now they're fearful they're going to not come back again.
Well, that is a big concern. The workers did come back, and a few of the shopkeepers were telling me that, interestingly, in the last maybe, I guess, week or so since we've had the New Year's holiday, that some of the workers were returning, and there was a sense of maybe a little more of calmness because of the, as the mayor was saying, what's been happening in Minnesota has really been overshadowing the raids that continue here in the Southland, and so maybe that gave a lot of the folks a thought that, there's not that much activity here, so some of the workers started to come back, the business started to pick up, and bang, just like that, they said it really, really shut down today.
All right, Ed, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Well, we do have more breaking news. Another pursuit. This one is LAPD in pursuit. This is in, where are we here? Downtown Los Angeles. Started just minutes ago, and I do believe we are hearing the want. Producer Ali? Okay, all right. We do not know what this person is wanted for, but nonetheless, downtown Los Angeles right now, it looks to be some sort of an older model sedan. LAPD has mentioned from the Hollenbeck division on this one.
That vehicle just blew through a red light there. Now, we are also hearing they may have gone into tracking mode. They often do that when a pursuit is really dangerous. The speeds here are now about 50 miles per hour, which on those surface streets would be too fast going through that red light there, too. So we're hearing back and forth that they're going from tracking to back into pursuit mode. Not sure what police have on this driver, but look at the speeds there. As we know, in downtown LA at this hour, there can be people walking on the street. We know there's a heavy homeless population downtown as well. And so it's very scary to see somebody driving this fast, now 60+ miles per hour, on the surface streets in downtown LA.
Yeah, and so we're South Alameda at this point, according to our extreme nav, and now we're slowing down. It looks like to make maybe a left turn here. We'll see. We're hearing that there's a passenger, so at least 2 people inside. It looked to be some tinted windows, some seriously tinted, just jet black windows, so that'll make it hard to see. We got the night sun above and speeds back to close to 60 miles per hour. And this does make it a little tricky with the freeways. There we go. We have eyes on it again. We're making a right turn here onto, looks to be Olympic. Are we going to get on? Seems like we are getting on. Yep, the 10th Street here. And this would put us back onto the 10, I believe. Yeah, 10 eastbound. So now we went from surface streets to the freeway here. And this, if you're just joining us, we opened LA Live News tonight with a pursuit involving the Sheriff's Department. A parolee at large was just taken into custody, a possible one anyway. 2 people were actually detained in the last pursuit. We had about a 5-minute break, and now we're back on with this pursuit. Again, this is LAPD now in the 10 eastbound, or it looks like now we're crossing over to the 60.
So as we watch this pursuit here, you can see the freeways are fairly wide open at this hour, so this driver could really get some traction here in this pursuit here on the freeway. Again, still trying to figure out why police are pursuing this vehicle in the first place, where it began and where it's headed right now. Our last pursuit started in East LA, ended in East LA, so the driver circled back to an area that we're guessing perhaps may have been familiar to that person, and that is where that pursuit started. That first one was a reckless DUI want initially with a possible parolee. This one still waiting to get some information here as LAPD is on this. Being that it's on the freeway, if the driver goes for a long time on this freeway, CHP could very well take this one over.
It becomes a jurisdictional thing. So Christine's right about that. And if CHP does take over, which could very well happen, they tend to be, just by policy alone, nothing against LAPD, have a little bit more aggressive take. But it looks like we're taking the 4th Street exit here from the 10 East in the Boyle Heights area. So we could be back on surface streets. It looks like we will be as we make this turn going straight through. We're going to go back on. So we've seen this tactic too, where you're on and off, sort of a cat and mouse game here that suspects tend to play. They do anything they can to stay out of custody. Again, we're still working to figure out what is the want. How do we bring this to an end? If speeds are below a certain threshold, they can work with a pit maneuver. Spike strips, we've seen that on freeways before, but that just has to do with the level of traffic, the volume of traffic. Christine, you noted there isn't a lot of traffic, but nonetheless there is traffic, so it makes it harder for a spike strip. And it looks like, yeah, we're getting back off again. Clearly unclear. They don't seem to have a clear plan of where they want to go. All they know is that they don't want to be in custody, as we're now slowing down and making a right on Cesar Chavez.
And look at the moves there. Obviously dangerous. You had, looks like a food truck right there. There could be people working there. Ooh, somebody right in the street right there. That's what's very scary. That one pedestrian who's out there, it's dark out at night, and you see this car coming at you. Not crazy speeds here, though. 30 miles per hour, probably over the speed limit for that narrow of a road with all those cars there. It looks like residents, homes, apartments, condos, whatever. But obviously, any heavy speed in a zone like this can be dangerous when you think of pedestrians. There's a park there. You see people playing sports at the top of your screen there. Again, LAPD still on this one as it is back on surface streets, so no need at the moment for CHP to jump in here. And you have this driver not pulling over. Reminder, a passenger in the car as well.
Yeah, so at least 2 people in this vehicle. It looks to be sort of a retro vehicle, if you will. That's just me. I'm calling it like I see it. We're working to get details on the vehicle, on the want as well. So now over the overpass here, LAPD, Hollenbeck Division. We were told that they were going to, oh my goodness, no, going the wrong way on the freeway, it looks to be.
Oh,
and that's,
no.
Now we're hearing it is a stolen vehicle going against traffic on the freeway. Are we pulling over? It's hard to see with those eucalyptus trees right there.
Yeah, obviously our view is blocked at the moment. Wow, so very dangerous. You have to wonder if the driver even understood that they were going down the wrong way and into that oncoming traffic. I haven't seen traffic there on the freeway slow as if a car is coming toward them or weave. So I'm wondering, our police specialist, Tim Lind, if you have any intel as to whether this car pulled over or what you have on that one.
Well, it just looks like from the footage that I'm seeing that it pulled underneath the overpass there on the right side of the street, of the wrong side of the road. And they do that. They'll go up an off-ramp, and most officers will not follow them up. And hopefully the helicopter can stay with it. But right now we can see we're searching it with Skyfox, trying to find out where it went. But more than likely it got up underneath that area there. You see a unit pulling in. and they're looking to see where the suspects may have gone. But that is a way that they do things to get away. They'll pull up underneath an overpass like this, especially going the wrong side of the way, because you know the officers won't follow them up there normally, and then off on foot. So now, right now, the helicopter overhead is going on to its thermal imager, looking for any movement in the bushes or any movement along that area. And if they pop out, more than likely into that neighborhood is where they're going to probably head for, because the other places they're pretty wide open. So right now, it's just a matter of getting a perimeter set on this and trying to get this locked down. But the other side you have on this is, unless that area stayed with the driver getting out of the car on the infrared, it's going to be kind of tough to figure out who came out of that car unless the officer in pursuit has identification on that subject. But as we move around here in Skyfox, is definitely up underneath the overpass, and you see the night sun from the LAPD or the sheriff's unit, I believe it was LAPD unit overhead, looking for the suspect with that infrared.
Yeah, and they do have that heat detecting technology so that they'd be able to see some movement. I see now the black and whites pulling up underneath, bottom left of your screen, as we now have a better view. But the actual suspect vehicle, which we had just learned was reported to be stolen, is out of our purview, and there is that night sun scanning the nearby neighborhood. This is in the Boyle Heights area. We were hearing, Tim, 2 people involved inside that vehicle, and now they seem to, or Skyfox is now really focused on this neighborhood that apparently you could get to from underneath that overpass, just up and over the hill there.
Right, yeah, just run up into the brush area along that perimeter area from the freeway, and then work your way all through, and then move your way over to that side. And the thing that you do when that happens is you widen out your thermal imager to where you can see a full picture, and then watch for movement. And at night, with the thermal imager, it's very easy to see people moving. And the problem you have is just trying to find that. Once you have the person's moving, stick with that area on the thermal imaging, and then call out their location to try to get units into the neighborhood. But right now, I don't see any units coming in to the area to where they can block this off. So this is going to be a pretty tough search once they get it going. Plus, you have all these people who are home hearing the helicopter overhead, hearing the sirens, and so that brings people out. So the problem with that is trying to keep.
You see the backup now on the 10.
Right. Well, yeah, the units that are down there, you know, you put a police car on the freeway and everybody's going to slow down, especially this right here. It looks more like a little transition, but yeah, they're going to have the backup there. They're going to deal with that. Now you see officers' flashlights working through that wooded area, and hopefully that tactical flight officer who's in the helicopter has that person under view with the infrared. And then now the night sun comes on, and that night sun is directed by the infrared camera. So wherever the camera is looking, that night sun will look as well, so they can have a visual out the window to see if they follow the suspect. Also, they have it on camera to where they can track it on the camera and direct officers inside to the inside that perimeter. We see now an officer's up on that cul-de-sac just to the top of the screen, and once they start locking down this area, then they will start their search. But right now, I'm not seeing a suspect in an active fleeing. They're not going over fences or bouncing through, but you can see the area is really congested with sheds, overgrown areas, and things of that sort, which makes it super difficult for that tactical flight officer to keep track of the suspect running through there. So, and then you have the problem with them knowing the area and also maybe knowing somebody there who will let them into a house.
You know what concerns me as we follow this pursuit, our second of the night in this 8 o'clock hour, is that this is a reported stolen vehicle with 2 people in that vehicle. You have to wonder how sophisticated they are. Is this part of a theft ring? Is it somebody, they know each other from some kind of whatever matter in which they might know each other? Is the passenger a willing participant or not? Only speculation on our part, and you have to wonder if LAPD has any more intel on this. Well,
we are hearing allegedly a wanted narcotics suspect, Tim.
Yeah, that just changes everything. So more than likely, if they have that information, they either threw narcotics out of the car or it was involved in some kind of transaction at the beginning of the pursuit, and they just happened to drive a stolen car to the deal. So everything's on the table at this point. They're just doing their best now to. You always go with the driver because they're in control of the vehicle. The second person in the car, if you can get them, that's great. But hopefully they stuck together as they went into this housing track. You can see the TFO or the tactical flight officer concentrating on these backyards here, trying to lock it down. You see the units at the top of the screen shining their lights down the driveways and things of that sort. Then you have units off to the east keeping a close eye on that.
All right, so Tim, our camera's pulling off here. We're going to wrap up our coverage right now as we continue to follow this with our assignment team as we are wanting more information, but just can't see anything right now. So we'll get to some other news and come back to this if we need to. Thanks, Tim.
Good night.
Well, tonight we are hearing for the first time from a protester who lost his eye during a recent anti-ICE demonstration in Orange County.
Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez with more on this young man's life-changing injury. We do want to warn you the images you're about to see may be disturbing for some viewers.
The doctor had said that the entire contents of my eye had fallen out and they had to put them back in.
Caden Rumler describes his injuries. The 21-year-old says this was the moment he was hit with a less than lethal round shot by a federal agent during an anti-ICE protest in Santa Ana on January 9th. The round going into his left eye.
I'll never see out of it again.
One of the doctor's concerns is that there's fragments lodged in Caden's skull from the projectile.
Rumler's attorneys say doctors are trying to find out the exact type of munition used by officers because there are fragments still inside Caden's skull.
The concern is that this unknown body could be leaching something into Caden's bloodstream. But they've been calling DHS and just getting the runaround, getting numbers that lead to nowhere.
DHS is backing their agent's actions, describing protesters as confrontational. Caden says he was holding a megaphone.
That is not right for us to not be able to do that. You know, I've actually been getting hate mail, people sending me like things like around and find out, and just calling me stupid, saying how I can't read, calling me one-eyed and stuff like that. It's awful. I can't fathom the fact that people lack all compassion and just like they're just behind the screen and they don't see me as a person.
Would you do it again?
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I would.
He feels pretty strongly about that and his right to protest. Now, we did reach out to DHS asking about these allegations of doctors not able to get the information they need to treat him. We did not get a response to that, but I did get a confirmation that he still faces charges, misdemeanor charges of disorderly conduct. I'm Christina Gonzalez in Orange County, Fox 11 News.
Well, coming up, it's being called unprecedented, a medical evacuation from the International Space Station.
The astronauts are safe and back on Earth, but we know about why they had to leave next.
As we head into the end of this weekend, we're doing so with sunny and dry conditions, but also temperatures remaining on the warmer side. I'll have all of those details and more coming up.
Weather is sponsored by My Home Sold.
Looking live outside here on a Thursday night. We're going to go to Star Harvey with a look at the really beautiful forecast.
We do have a very beautiful forecast. You know, we've been done decently here throughout the week, and even today for the LA area, gorgeous conditions out there tonight. We did have our temperatures come about 15 degrees above our averages, so it is definitely feeling good out there, still on the warm side, and we do continue with a little bit more of that before we do arrive at next week. As far as out there right now, we do have mostly clear skies. This is going to be across the LA downtown area as well. Temperatures right now, they've fell down to 61 degrees, and we do have that nice northwest flow coming in at about 2 miles per hour. We are expecting that our winds will pick back up before we get to the end of this week and into the weekend. Currently, outside of the LA area, we do have some 30s on the map. Already at 30 degrees in our mountains. We have some 40s across our high deserts, our low deserts hanging around in the mid 60s. And along the coast, we also have low to mid 60 temperatures right now. Now, our high pressure system that has brought us all of the gorgeous conditions this week, bringing those temperatures above their averages, but also bringing in the breezes, has went ahead and migrated off to the north of us, but still close enough to bring in that clockwise motion there. And with that, that allows for all of the warm air to seep into our region. Now, this will still be the case moving into this weekend and early parts of next week. As we get to the middle and end of next week, we do see that high pressure still aloft, but a little bit further away. And this is what is going to allow for our temperatures to dip down closer to their averages. I'll have another look at that coming up a little bit later in your 7-day. For now, back to you.
Thanks so much. Well, we do have the end of a third pursuit in the 8 o'clock hour. This is not far from the Fox 11 station in West Los Angeles. This is the 10 West, right near the Baldy exit. This says Sentinella. They're very close together. You're seeing a lot of blinking lights. The officer's out. You see a smoking vehicle. This is said to be an alleged kidnapping suspect. Not clear how this ended.
Yeah, so we're looking at different cameras that we have. This is the roof cam, actually, of the Fox 11 News looking at this car right here, so just down the street from us. It's an interesting visual here where you see every car door open and the trunk, and you see that smoking vehicle. I don't see another vehicle near it that looks like it's been hit, but perhaps that's visible in a wider shot. So not sure why that car is smoking. Literally, we were about to take this pursuit, then we told it came to an end, and then we come now and see this scene here. So you're looking at a live shot here as the traffic is flowing on the freeway, and you can see a lot of police activity there. Not sure if this was a kidnapping or if there is a person who's a victim, but we do know there is a suspect in custody.
All right, well, we'll keep a watch on this one and update you accordingly.
Wild night.
All right, still ahead.
LA firefighters are returning to residents to help fund the department.
A solution on the table, a sales tax increase, what it would do. Plus, we're checking in with Gina Silva. Tonight, LA firefighters are taking their case straight to voters. A new ballot campaign is now underway to raise money for more firefighters, newer equipment, and aging fire stations. Fox 11's Haley Winslow with more on the story from North Hills.
We're proud to serve the city, but we need your help.
A rare call from those who come to our rescue.
We have half the fire department we need to keep LA safe.
Yeesh. Los Angeles Fire Department is asking for help with a required 150,000 signatures from LA residents who support a half-cent sales tax increase, which for a $5 cup of coffee would be an additional 2 to 3 cents.
This measure, which is led by our firefighters themselves, not City Hall, will dedicate funds to build new stations, upgrade existing ones, and ensure LAFD has the facilities needed to meet the modern demands of tomorrow, not the last century.
Union leaders say LAFD has the same number of firefighters as it did in 1960, but now operates with 6 fewer fire stations and 5 times the call volume, many homeless, than 86 years ago. It also says emergency response times nearly double what national safety standards recommend.
When someone's house is on fire, when a child can't breathe, when a cardiac arrest happens, seconds do matter. We're taking almost 8 minutes to get to you because we do not have enough resources, and that's the truth.
After this increase, we would still be at or below places like Manhattan Beach, Santa Monica, Burbank, Pasadena, and Glendale.
They need help.
Protection all around is very important.
People don't have a lot of money to give low income. I know they're heroes, the firefighters are heroes, and they deserve a lot of money, but what about us?
A melted mess and still major scene in North Hills. This vacant church that caught fire Tuesday with homeless inside.
This is going to be a slow, methodical process over the next 2 days.
The major emergency tied up 100 firefighters.
Do we have any available rescues that are closer than Rescue 76 coming from quarters? Engine 75, no. The valley is mostly red.
When you take 100 firefighters and put them in a single location, that takes them away from other areas, and that might increase their response times.
An example, along with last January's wildfires, of the need for more resources.
Ignoring those lessons would be reckless.
If the measure makes it on the November ballot and passes, funding would begin 110 days later. LAFD's wish list? 62 more fire stations, up from the current 106, double the force. Right now, the city has 3,300 firefighters, twice the equipment and apparatus. And fire trucks, they say, take at least 3 years to get. The union says the money couldn't be used for anything else and would make the city safe. In North Hills, Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
When the infected attack, what do they see? I believe the infection can be treated.
So the weekend almost here, the highly anticipated horror movie 28 years later, The Bone Temple hits theaters. Is it any good?
For that, we turn to CBR.com. Movie critic Ray Drake. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Is it good?
It's so good.
Oh, it is?
Oh, my God. I loved this movie, and it is specifically because it's very different from the other movies in the 28 Days and Years Later series.
How many are there?
This is the 4th one, if I'm counting correctly.
Okay.
And so if you haven't seen the last one, it came out less than a year ago, it's important that you see that one to give this one context. So instead of a lot of blood and guts and gore from the fast-moving zombies that are affected by the rage virus, this one is more of a character study. This is Dr. Kelson, played by Ray Fiennes, and what happens when he kind of meets up with this group of roving psychopaths led by Jimmy Crystal, right? So this is the apocalypse and like how people manage to live in a world that's not really functioning the way that we know it to. It contains an unforgettable scene. I don't think it'll be topped this whole year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Highly recommended.
Ray Fiennes is a treasure. fans need to see this.
Big name in that movie. Okay, so the next one, speaking of treasures, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. Who doesn't love to see them together?
Nobody, absolutely nobody. And streaming on Netflix, The Rip is definitely worth your time because it's a very simple and elegant movie, okay? It is about a group of cops. They get a tip that there's a bunch of money in a house. That tip is correct to the tune of over $20 million. Now, you think you should just be able to bing, bang, boom, turn that money into the cops? They are the cops. It should be done. It is not done. All of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. And there's like crooked cops coming up. There's people trying to get the money. It's wild. I never knew where this movie was headed. It is so good. I can't believe that they didn't put this on a big screen. But the fact that it's streaming makes it an excellent investment.
And this is based on a true story.
Yeah, and there are elements of this story that are very true. And I mean, I can't guess which ones because almost all of the plot points are crazy. So it's wild.
And so our third movie, Dead Man's Wire, also based on a true story, a documentary, real life happenings here.
That's right. So in 1977, you have a man, Tony Curtis, who he took someone hostage because he felt like he was being wronged by mortgage lenders. And whether you think he is right or wrong, he was very passionate about his point, and he constructed a horrifying device where one of those lenders had a shotgun in his face, and if anything happened to someone nearby him, it was going to go off and kill him. It's very intense. So Bill Skarsgård, who's most famous for being Pennywise in the It movies, he's playing Tony, and he's always so compelling. This movie is fascinating as a story. It really speaks to people who are just fed up. And you know,
there's a lot of people fed up.
That's the thing. It's it's relatable in certain ways, and the ending is obviously well documented. But the path there is beautifully shot, wonderfully performed, directed by Gus Van Sant.
Yeah, and they also say ensemble cast on this one. I'm looking at Al Pacino. We saw Coleman Domingo in the shot.
Yes, everyone is great.
And this one is in theaters as well.
Yes.
Okay, so you can stream The Rip right now.
Yes.
The other two are in theaters.
And it's wild. It's wild that that's the small screen movie.
Really? Because of Ben and Matt.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we let you go, we have to say happy 1 year. You have been at CBR.com for 1 year.
Yes, thank you.
And CBR.com, you are so lucky to have her. Yeah, I hope they got you a big old cake or something.
Coming in here.
Yeah, that's right.
You haven't outgrown us yet, right?
This is the party that I want to be at. So
yeah, right.
Thank you.
We may have another pursuit for you. Who knows?
Oh gosh, no.
It might be me.
Three.
Let's check in with Star Harvey for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've had some pretty interesting weather over the last several days. In fact, our temperature is trending a good 15 to 20 degrees above their averages, and we won't see much changes in our weather headlines through, I'd say, the weekend and moving into the early parts of next week. We do have this high pressure system to thank for that. Now, a look at those headlines. We do continue with the Santa Ana winds through tomorrow and into the first half of our weekend. As of now, we do not have any advisories or watches and warnings in place because of our winds, but wouldn't be surprised if we do see those go back into effect as early as tomorrow and then moving into our Saturday. We do have a few more days where we're not just on the drier side, but also sunshine in place, and we will continue with our temperatures above their averages. As we do slide into next week, we will have still temperatures above their averages to start the week, but by the time we get to the middle and end of the week, we should start to see those temperatures leveling out closer to their averages. Here's a look today what downtown LA did. 16 degrees above where we are typically at. Not too bad there. Normally we're at about 68 degrees. Today we brought it up to 84, so we did get really close to that record temperature of 88 degrees about 5 years ago, back in 2021. If we take a look at our future cast here as we make it through the rest of this evening, we are expecting to be under mostly clear skies. We roll over into our Friday, not much change in there with our sky conditions. Maybe we'll have some of those clouds down near the Long Beach area moving across the Irvine area, but otherwise mostly dry conditions out there. We do push into our Saturday, and as Saturday approaches, we do start to get this wave of clouds pushing in. Again, we are still expecting to be on the drier side for the weekend. So for your Saturday, still warm conditions out there. We can't forget about the breezes, but yes, we will have a chance for that sun and cloud mix. Here's a look at our wind gusts through tonight, the 9 o'clock hour. So in about the next 9 minutes or so, we do show some of those gusts kicking up across portions of the Lake Arrowhead area, but also into the Santa Clarita Valley and over and through portions of Ventura County as well. Winds do pick up getting into tomorrow. Here's a look at the afternoon. We continue to have those contoured colors out to not just the east of LA, but also across the west as well as the north. And this will be the same story moving into our Saturday, where we do still have those gusty conditions. Now moving into Sunday afternoon is when we start to really see those gusts dying down. So if we do have those advisories reissued, I do not believe that they will move into the last part of our weekend. Here's a look at our temperatures for tomorrow. Today we came in the mid to upper 80s. Tomorrow we're dropping down to the lower 80s, and you'll see that decline in temperatures from tomorrow into the weekend and then by next week. A reminder, our average for the LA area this time of the year is in the upper 60s. We do not see those 60s on the map, at least until we push to the ending of next week. Here's a look at our mountains. Plenty of sunshine up there as well. Those temperatures will be sub-freezing for your lows, not just for tomorrow night, tonight, but also moving across our forecast here for at least the next several days, where we will be close to or slightly below that sub-freezing mark for your late night, early mornings. Otherwise, your temperatures will be in the 50s over the course of the next several days. And of course, just checking in on the valleys for tomorrow in the low 80s, and then you will get more 80-degree temperatures for this weekend. Back to you.
All right, Star, thanks. Tonight, SpaceX Crew 11 astronauts are back on Earth, safely splashing down off the California coast early this morning.
A medical concern forced NASA to end the mission and evacuate the International Space Station about a month early. The first time in history. Fox's Sarah Allegre is in San Diego with details.
Well, looking at the 25-year history of the International Space Station, this is the first medical evacuation of its kind, and that all came to a close here right off the coast of San Diego, California, ending that trip just about a month early. But now NASA says the focus is on the astronaut in need and getting them the proper recovery and help right here on Earth.
Spaceflight will always carry some degree of uncertainty. That is the nature of exploration. Fundamentally, it's why we're in space, to learn. It's why NASA prepares for the unexpected, so we are ready to respond decisively and safely. The successful return of Crew 11 is a direct result of that preparation.
Crew 11, made up of NASA astronauts Mike Fink and Zena Cardman, along with Japanese astronaut Kimya Yui and Russian cosmonaut Oleg Platonov. NASA says this was not an emergency evacuation. The astronaut is stable, but as you can see the crew exit the Dragon capsule, they seem to be in good spirits. But again, NASA's not sharing who the astronaut is for privacy reasons. The signs to cut the mission short, that all came last week after NASA canceled the first spacewalk of 2026. NASA says this was a precaution, and the best way to get a full checkup is right here on the ground.
We should have had a medical evacuation approximately every 3 years in that 25-year history, and we've not had one to date.
Crew 11 undocked Wednesday afternoon in the same SpaceX Dragon capsule that brought them to the ISS in August. Those thrusters fired off early Thursday morning, slowing the capsule before splashdown off SoCal at 1 a.m. local time. The crew was then flown by a helicopter to shore after medical checks on the recovery ship. Now Crew 11's at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. So with the crew back here on Earth, that means the International Space Station is understaffed. But NASA says that'll change soon with the launch of Crew 12 coming up this time next month on February 15th. In San Diego, Sarah Allegre, Fox News.
Well, here is what's coming up at 9 o'clock tonight. Neighbors are calling it Skid Row Westwood, and they are fed up. The question tonight, what is the city doing to clean up this homeless encampment? Plus this. You know this familiar face. He will join me in studio to talk about his brand new book. You can check out former Fox 11 journalist Hal Eisner. That's coming up ahead at 9 o'clock. There he is sitting down.
Well, yeah, that's the moving scene there, because that's right after Hal and Joab, our photographer, had been hit by a DUI driver. And I was there at Hal's house to interview them about that. That's the Hal we know and love. doing so well at his job here at Fox 11. And I love that he took the time to write a book. He's got a lot of history to talk about.
I'm going to ask him about that accident and how that impacted his journalism. So that's coming up a little bit later in the 9 o'clock hour. Look forward to seeing Hal live with me in studio.
Because you never think that you're going to actually make news.
No, and I was live on the air with the breaking news when it happened, and I couldn't believe it was having to report on our colleague. Right. Exactly. All right, we'll see you at 9 o'clock.
Live across SoCal, this is LA Live News Tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
Now at 9, a tragic incident in Van Nuys. A person struck and killed by a semi-truck in a parking lot. Our Rachel Aragon has a live report. Plus,
some of them were hiding behind we have like a little warehouse in the back. So they just locked themselves inside and they were just panicking.
immigration raids spark chaos in LA's fashion district. Once again, protests erupt. City leaders respond. But what made this morning's scene so intense? We'll show you coming up. And we're live from the coast of the Inland Valleys. Meteorologist Sarah Harvey with a preview of what's on the horizon.
Well, we do have another string of warm conditions flowing into this weekend. The changes may be the fact that our winds may also be picking back up. I have those details, plus your 7-day coming up.
All right, Star, thank you. Good evening, everybody. You are watching LA Live News Tonight at 9 o'clock. I'm Marla Tejas. Well, a tragic and unusual accident in Van Nuys tonight. A person was killed after being hit by a semi-truck in a parking lot. Fox 11's Rachel Aragon. She's live with more. Rachel?
Yeah, Marla, a very tragic night here in Van Nuys. I want to step out just a bit so you can see exactly where this collision occurred. Right up near this John's Fresh Marketplace to the left-hand side is where that collision happened earlier this afternoon. Take a look at this video, though. Chopper video giving a better picture of the John's Fresh Marketplace semi-truck appearing to make what looks like a right turn in the parking lot in front of this grocery store. By the way, this is right off North Van Nuys Boulevard near Van Owen Street. Several people who live and work nearby claim the man was homeless. Well, police told me as of right now they could not determine whether the man was unhoused or not. But they did say the 55-year-old man appeared to be laying on the ground or sleeping when he was struck. Police say as of right now this does not appear to be a crime, not a DUI, and they also say it does not appear the driver had any bad intent.
It's just an accident. It looks like the semi-truck was trying to navigate through this parking lot, attempted a really tight turn, and unfortunately there was a pedestrian that was laying down or sleeping on the floor next to where the semi-truck was making that movement.
Now, police also said that the driver himself did stay on scene and did cooperate. Earlier this evening, we saw quite a few people from the community come out, of course, and pay their respects for this man. But again, just a pure tragedy out here in Van Nuys tonight. Pretty live, I'm Rachel Aragon. Send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much. A crash on the westbound 10 freeway near the 15 interchange in Ontario early this morning left one person dead, another seriously hurt. The semi hit an overpass, causing a metal beam to fall onto the freeway, where several cars collided with it. The freeway was shut down for hours as CHP investigated. A major police response continues at the Bicycle Casino in Bell Gardens. It appears the casino is still under an evacuation. Some roads around the casino are closed, and we've heard reports of a possible armed suspect. Skyfox bringing these images not long ago. Right now, very little information is available, but we will bring you an update just as soon as we get one. Tonight, video out of an East LA neighborhood where ICE agents were conducting raids. Eddie Huerta shot this video from his Montebello home just across the street. He said the agents pulled up while a group of construction workers were getting ready to take their lunch break. They panicked and bolted, jumping into neighboring roofs, onto those neighboring roofs, running away from the agents. No one was detained. ICE raids continue to take people and spark protests across the country. There was a major ICE raid in downtown LA's Fashion District in what was described as a chaotic scene and prompting statements from city officials. Let's go live to Fox 11's Ed Lascos in downtown LA in the Fashion District with more tonight. Ed?
Marla, lots of reaction coming in. A series of ICE raids right through the area today, but the one that really hit home was the one in the Fashion District. Lots of commotion there. The Fashion District still reeling from a very large ICE raid last summer, and now that very same area targeted yet again. Watch. ICE in the Fashion District. Their white vans pelted, hit with flying debris. This latest raid by federal immigration officers sending people running everywhere.
And everybody just running left and right and going inside the shops. One of my girls started bringing down the gate because they were scared.
Most running into stores, hiding behind the racks of clothing, hiding in the back stock rooms, hiding everywhere.
The people is running and scared, and then into the business. The people walk inside, and then they're not scared, and then, oh my God, the ICE is here.
ICE is here, and in several other parts of the city, from Koreatown to Pico Union, their raids bringing the very same chaos.
They were just panicking. Everybody just running left and right and screaming. I was sort of crying because I see everyone running.
Oh, they're over there, look. They did get some people.
Several people are detained, with Mayor Karen Bass firing back at the feds, accusing them of a reign of terror. Quote, this purposeful campaign of fear and intimidation by the administration is unacceptable. These tactics do not make anyone safer. They only sow terror in our communities and disrupt basic principles of safety in our city. And for the Fashion District, it's a major blow to their business.
It's empty. Nobody's around here because they're scared. People are just crying.
Now live, that is the fallout from all of these continuing ICE raids. They've been really working hard to get the economy going again, to get business up and running in the Fashion District since last June, that big raid back at that time. It slowly was starting to pick up around the holidays, and so many of the shopkeepers down there tonight, Marla, telling me that this latest raid really has really hit them very hard, as they were saying, middle of the afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock, very quiet there. So many folks are not coming down there because they're simply scared.
And that's exactly let me get this out. The idea that these raids, of course, this goes without saying, but I think it is worth stating, Ed, that these raids are unannounced. So at any given moment, your, quote, ordinary day can be turned upside down, which is exactly what these folks felt in the Fashion District today.
Yeah, you're right. No warning at all. All of a sudden they come in with their vans, the sirens going, and as some of the witnesses were saying, they sealed off that area, Maple, between 11th and 12th, in the heart of the Fashion District. And just like that, in a blink of an eye, they're on you. They're moving fast. People are running. And as so many of the witnesses were saying, it was just pure chaos. Everybody running every which way, scrambling. Some folks are running for their lives.
All right, Ed, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Live look outside from atop Mount Wilson, and we're talking about warmer temperatures. I believe Santa Ana's, they're dying down just a little bit. I hope so. Let's check in with our meteorologist, Star Harvey.
Yeah, that's right, Marla. You know, we are still going to see some breezy conditions and some Santa Ana-like activity moving into our weekend, but those wind levels will be below advisory. Now, what will not be below what is usually happening around this time of the year is going to be our temperatures. In fact, for the LA area and surrounding region, we had temperatures come in about 15 to 20 degrees above their averages because of that high pressure system. So the same system allowing for that offshore flow, also bringing in the heat. You'll see it reflected in our colors here. We had 80s across all of the orange levels. So our Inland Empire down towards Palm Springs, the downtown LA area, over and through Ventura. We had 60s up into our high deserts, and our low deserts again managed to make it into the 80s. We had 50s across our mountains, and we did have a few 70s like across portions of the Santa Clarita Valley. Our temperatures have dropped down, but they will be on their way back up as we move into tomorrow afternoon. Right now we're at 61 in LA, 60 in Chino, 59 in San Bernardino. Burbank, you're at 63 degrees. Down in Torrance, we got 57 degrees. Our overnight lows are going to be also above their averages for the LA basin. You'll see that reflected here. Typically, we are in the 40s. We're going to have a lot more 50s on the map, low to mid 50s across the area. Winds right now, sustained winds moving at about 2 to 5 miles per hour. And then we go ahead and arrive at tomorrow. We'll be starting off in the 50s, but our afternoon highs are expecting to top off at the 80-degree mark, and we will see those 80-degree temperatures into our weekend as well. Marla.
All right, Star, thank you. A triple shooting in Lakewood leaves 3 people dead, including a teenage girl. Fox 11's Nick Garcia has the latest on this investigation.
This quiet neighborhood in Lakewood shaken by a triple shooting just before 8 o'clock Thursday morning.
Me and my wife were doing yard work in the front of our yard, and when we saw the helicopters this morning, I knew something was up.
Murder, that just isn't something that we see on a regular basis around here.
The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says deputies were responding to a call for assault with a deadly weapon when they discovered 3 people, a man, woman, and a 17-year-old girl dead inside this house. All had been shot.
This incident is a tragedy to the city of Lakewood. Lakewood is one of the safest cities in LA County.
Investigators say the 3 appear to be related, but have not said how.
The closer to you that it is the scarier it is. So it is still directly across the street. I have no idea. I just walked to the corner, and when I looked and saw how close it was, my heart stopped.
Deputies say a woman who was inside the house at the time of the shooting is being questioned, but the Sheriff's Department is not calling her a suspect or a person of interest at this time.
My heart completely goes out to them, and for those who have to bury them. This is right after the holidays. People coming off a high and enjoying each other to go. This is 15 days into 2026.
Homicide investigators on scene interviewing neighbors, but the Sheriff's Department not able to share yet what led up to the gunfire. Nick Garcia, Fox 11 News.
Well, fresh off another championship, the Dodgers are loading up again. Multiple reports say all-star outfielder Kyle Tucker is joining LA on a 4-year, $240 million deal, making the Dodgers the favorites to repeat once more. Tucker seen here as a Cub. Tucker joins a stacked lineup led by Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman as the Dodgers continue their push for a historic three-peat. Well, lower drug prices, cheaper insurance, and cash straight to your pocket. Up next, President Trump unveils a bold new health care plan. And he has been a local leader and a federal official. And now Michael Gates has his sights set on California's top legal job. But what's driving his run for Attorney General? We'll share the reason behind his decision. Plus, a legendary career spanning almost 6 decades. Former Fox 11 reporter Hal Eisner. He's opening up about his incredible journey in a brand new book. He will join me live on set. Still to come. Earlier today, President Trump announces a new health care plan. It aims to lower drug prices, reduce insurance premiums, and send money directly to consumers instead of insurers. The plan also focuses on increasing price transparency. This comes after Affordable Care Act subsidies expired in late 2025, which helped 22 million people, according to a nonpartisan health policy group. Without those subsidies, premiums could more than double in 2026. Well, he has served locally and at the federal level, and now Michael Gates wants to help run the state of California. Gates made a name for himself as the outspoken city attorney in Huntington Beach. He recently spent some time working with the Trump administration, and now he's announcing a run for California Attorney General. Tonight at 6, he told me why.
Since the Palisades fires, so much has happened in California. The sentiment among Californians really has changed. Regular Californians are suffering from high crime rates, high tax rates. There's homelessness everywhere. And so I think I'm perfectly situated and suited, equipped to go to Sacramento, to be the Attorney General, to crack down on crime.
Gates served the city of Huntington Beach as its elected city attorney from 2014 to 2025. He was appointed as a Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the Federal Department of Justice in 2025.
Weather is sponsored by American Career College.
All right, we are taking you now to Santa Monica. It looks really pretty tonight. You see the reflection on the water. The water is so calm out there. Let's check in with Star Harvey for a look at the forecast and the weekend ahead.
Hey, Marla. You know, I do anticipate that as we roll into this weekend. If you're someone who didn't get to take advantage of all of the gorgeous weather we had last weekend, this is going to be the weekend to be out at the beach. I can just imagine now how crowded it's going to be out there because we are still expecting our temperatures to be well above their averages. In fact, I've been raving all evening here about how the LA and surrounding region has seen temperatures about 15 to 20 degrees above their averages, and we do continue under mostly clear skies out there, sunshine during the daytime. Temperatures in the downtown area right now backing down to about 61 degrees, and we do have a nice calm wind out there. Our winds are expected to pick back up in their Santa Ana wind event as we do move into tomorrow, but also into the first half of our weekend, although still remaining below that advisory level. Here's a look at where we are now. 38 degrees across the Fraser Park area. Big Bear, you did really nice today. We had our highs in the 50s, dropping down to about 30 degrees right now. And through most of this week, you are going to have your overnight lows, but also your early mornings sub-freezing. So we got to get used to that for the next several days. As far as LA goes, pretty nice out there. 63 degrees across the portions of the San Fernando Valley. Now, we do have high pressure, and this high pressure did sit a little bit closer to us. It has been commanding our weather pattern for most of this week. It has shifted off to the north of us, and so that is what has allowed for our pressure gradients to let up. That is what really controls our winds there. So still with that clockwise motion there, allowing for that northeast flow, that offshore flow to not just bring in the breezes, but also the warmer conditions. As we move through the rest of this week and into our weekend, high pressure still close enough to do its thing with keeping us above our averages. But then as we move into next week, in fact, the ending of next week, that high pressure system will have, I'd say, backed off just a little bit and enough to where our temperatures will drop down. But even moving into next week, this is next Thursday, where we have that high pressure system sitting offshore there, it will still be close enough to have our temperatures above their averages. But you will notice that cool down from where we are now heading into the end of next week. Here's a look at our winds tonight. In fact, our gusts beginning to pick up across some of our mountains area, but also into portions of Ventura County, over into portions of our San Gabriel's as well. Now, our winds are going to remain active, not just to the east, but also to the west and north of LA as we move into tomorrow afternoon and then again into Saturday morning as well as the afternoon. I went ahead and tracked our winds into Sunday. We may still see some areas pushing out gusts, but they're not as relevant as they are for the first half of our weekend. Here's a look at those temperatures for LA tomorrow. We'll be waking up in the 50s at that 8 o'clock hour, and then as we make our way into the afternoon, we are expecting to see a lot of the area in the lower 80s. We may have a few 70s on the map, but I do believe a lot of us will still touch that 80-degree mark. Back to you.
Feeling like summer. All right, Star, thank you. New at 9, Progresso is spicing up National Soup Month with a unique twist. The company is bringing back its hard candy-like sour drops in flavors like chicken noodle, tomato basil, and beef pot roast. Each bundle also includes a can of real soup. These limited edition treats will be available at Walmart through the rest of the month while supplies last. Speaking of treats, crumble cookies. Who doesn't love a crumble cookie? Well, guess what? They're testing donuts, but don't get too excited just yet. The Utah-based bakery confirmed it's experimenting after rumors spread online. However, the company says the treats are only in early internal testing. There's no timeline for when or if they'll hit stores. I'll be a donut taste tester for crumble, wouldn't you? All right, coming up, a GoFundMe claims Mickey Rourke was facing eviction and raised over $100,000, but the actor says it's all a lie. So where's the money now? Those details ahead. Well, my fellow Bay Area transplants are going to be sad to hear this news, and I'm sure you recognize this man here. Doug McConnell, beloved host of Bay Area Backroads, has died. He was 80 years old. He was known for his warmth and curiosity. McConnell spent decades showcasing Northern California's hidden gems and natural beauty. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, he passed peacefully on Tuesday following health struggles after a 2023 stroke. McConnell's career spanned Emmy-winning TV programs, environmental reporting, and advocacy for public lands. His legacy of storytelling and stewardship continues with the 12th season of Open Road airing this weekend.
I wouldn't know what a GoFund Foundation is in a million years. My life is very simple.
Golden Globe winning actor Mickey Rourke addressing a GoFundMe that raised over $100,000, claiming he was facing eviction. Rourke says he never asked for help, didn't start the GoFundMe, and is now working to refund $90 grand. He calls the situation frustrating, but assures fans he's doing well with a new apartment, job offers, and support from friends. Big changes are coming to a galaxy far, far away. After 13 years, Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down as head of Lucasfilm after being handpicked by George Lucas. Disney bought Lucasfilm for $4 billion in 2012, and under her leadership, it's earned more than $5.5 billion. Disney says Dave Filoni, known for The Mandalorian, will lead storytelling, while Lin-Wen Brennan takes over business operations.
Coming up, we're in Westwood tonight, where a homeless encampment has grown out of control in recent weeks despite complaints from nearby residents. We'll have an update coming for you right after this break.
Also, a legendary career and stories you've never heard of. Former Fox 11 reporter Hal Eisner, he will be with me live in studio to share highlights from almost 60 years in journalism in his new book.
Live across SoCal, this is LA Live News Tonight on Fox 11 Plus.
Only on Fox 11 tonight, a major cleanup underway in Westwood, targeting a well-known homeless encampment that neighbors say had grown out of control. City workers out there this evening after nearby residents reported complaining for weeks. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf is there live at Santa Monica and Westwood, a really busy intersection. Matthew, what'd you learn?
Well, Marla, it's much quieter tonight compared to previous nights. City crews left here a couple of hours ago, and Mike will show you the latest. Right now, we are seeing some of the homeless already back here at the intersection, highlighting a much bigger problem. The highly anticipated cleanup in Westwood at a notorious homeless encampment. How many people would you guys say were out here?
Probably up to 100 at a certain point.
These camps are lighting up.
For weeks, frustrated neighbors recorded what they call barbaric conditions.
Open air drug use. People lined up all the way down to that scooter.
It was hard to walk.
Oh, you can barely walk by.
Some tried calling and emailing city leaders, but felt ignored.
It's really sad that people have to live on the street. It's been like this for months.
Do you understand the frustration from residents when they walk by and see all the encampments?
Yeah, of course. Well, someone's got to bear the brunt of, I guess, mass capitalism, right?
Jules, a former Marine, watches as workers take away the campsite. Where are you going to go?
I don't know. Loss is trying to work on a place, but that doesn't seem like the money's being spent wisely, or it doesn't seem like people are being held accountable.
This as a federal task force investigates roughly $2 billion in unaccounted for spending for homeless services across LA County.
Money's being spent somewhere, but it's not going into my pocket.
Are they offering you help?
I hope so. I feel like the city tries, but it's all up to like individual workers.
LA District 5 Councilwoman Katie Oroslavsky's office says most people here accepted housing offers, and a motion to make this a no camping zone is coming Friday. But within an hour of the cleanup, some started coming back.
Shouldn't everywhere be a no camping zone, a no prostitution zone, a no drug zone? Why is this one corner now becoming no? They're just going to move 20 feet away. It becomes whack-a-mole, and it's all over the place.
Back out here live again, we are seeing at least one person back out here camping tonight. More city workers are expected to be back out here tomorrow, though. Officials say they're trying to do their best to keep these from popping up over and over again. Reporting live tonight in Westwood, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Interesting to note what you just said. So more city workers expected to come out tomorrow. So they're going to do this every day, sort of a thing? I mean, I doubt that the city has the resources to be able to keep that up.
Yeah, so tomorrow they're coming out here with sanitation crews. They're really going to clean it up an extra level beyond what they did today. But again, you're talking about the resources. That's one of the problems. A lot of the residents in this area feel like it is going to keep popping up.
And the no camping zone, per the city council member there, what are the consequences if you break that?
Yeah, so technically, if you do break that, you can be arrested. Now, whether or not that takes place remains to be seen. And that's another thing that neighbors nearby are anxious to see. If these homeless return and keep on camping, could they be arrested? Could there be consequences, especially if there is a no camping zone initiated?
Right. Okay. Enforcement has always been an issue in order to get a handle on this. Matthew, we appreciate you so much. Thank you. The Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority is rolling out new improvements ahead of the 2026 Greater Los Angeles Homeless Count. LASA says upgraded digital maps, simplified training, and more staff will help volunteers collect more accurate data across the county. The unsheltered count begins January 20th, and the agency is still seeking volunteers, saying thousands more are still needed. The Trump administration is suing California over a state law that creates a 3,200-foot buffer between new oil and gas wells and homes and schools and hospitals. The Justice Department says the state law violates federal law and would block energy development on federal land. California leaders defend the law as science-based, saying it protects communities from pollution and serious health risks. Tonight, we are hearing for the first time from a protester who lost an eye during a recent anti-ICE demonstration in Orange County. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez with more on this young man's life-changing injury.
The doctor had said that the entire contents of my eye had fallen out and they had to put them back in.
Caden Rumler describes his injuries. The 21-year-old says this was the moment he was hit with a less than lethal round shot by a federal agent during an anti-ICE protest in Santa Ana on January 9th. the round going into his left eye.
I'll never see out of it again.
One of the doctor's concerns is that there's fragments lodged in Keaton's skull from the projectile.
Rumler's attorneys say doctors are trying to find out the exact type of munition used by officers because there are fragments still inside Keaton's skull.
The concern is that this unknown body could be leaching something into Keaton's bloodstream. But they've been calling DHS and just getting the runaround, getting numbers that lead to nowhere.
DHS is backing their agents' actions, describing protesters as confrontational. Keaton says he was holding a megaphone.
That is not right for us to not be able to do that. You know, I've actually been getting hate mail, people sending me like things like around and find out, and just calling me stupid, saying how I can't read, calling me one-eyed and stuff like that. It's awful. I can't fathom the fact that people lack all compassion and just like they're just behind the screen and they don't see me as a person.
Would you do it again?
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I would.
He feels pretty strongly about that and his right to protest. Now, we did reach out to DHS asking about these allegations of doctors not able to get the information they need to treat him. We did not get a response to that, but I did get a confirmation that he still faces charges, misdemeanor charges of disorderly conduct. I'm Christina Gonzalez in Orange County, Fox 11 News.
I'm Hal Eisner, Fox 11 News.
Wow, what a hell of a night.
In downtown Los Angeles, Hal Eisner, Channel 11 News.
I love it. New at 9, a 58-year-long career in Los Angeles TV news. Former Fox 11 anchor, reporter, and veteran journalist Hal Eisner is sharing his inspiring journey in a new book. It's called An Accidental Career, and he joins me now right here in studio. Love you, Hal.
Love you too. Love all of you out there.
Congratulations on an accidental career.
How scary is that?
No, it's not scary.
That's way taller than me.
I just said the more Hal, the better, right?
Yes, you did say that, exactly.
Okay, why is your career, what makes it accidental?
There were a number of, accidents are not just about cars hitting it. That happened with me, right?
We're going to talk about that.
Right, exactly. But, you know, accidents can be just inadvertent things that you didn't plan on. And there is a story, I've told it to you before, where I was in the high school band and in Dallas, Texas, and there was a local radio station in Dallas that had a contest. Send a postcard with why you want to report your high school football score on Friday night. I thought, what a great way to meet girls. And so I sent in a postcard. I put it in the mailbox. And either I was the only one that sent one in for my high school, or they actually pulled my name out of the box. I won. That's why we're here today.
That is absolutely amazing.
And that's accidental.
Yeah, and what a career you've had. I mean, very few people have what you've had.
Thank you.
Which I love that.
Yeah.
In your accidental career you just referenced, this wasn't an accident. It was a DUI driver.
Yeah.
You're out there reporting one day. We get the news in the newsroom that there's breaking news. It involves you and a photog of ours, Joab Perez. You're literally struck by this DUI driver while on the job. How did that change you in your journalistic journey?
Well, I think it changed me in so many ways. I mean, first of all, the physical injury was really overwhelming. I had 6 fractured ribs. I had a fractured tibia plateau in my knee. And, it's upsetting. I was in the hospital for a while. Joab had his collarbone disconnected. He had ribs that were broken. He had to go to the hospital for a long time.
These are images from the scene.
Yeah, boy, that's frightening to look at. And I remember that. And one thing I didn't know at the time was that there was a camera on top of one of the poles on Hollywood Boulevard, and it showed me flying through the air after this driver jumped the curb, hit Joab, hit me, then hit several tourists, and then went into that building you're looking at right there.
I'm sure that this makes it into your book.
Oh, it's in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in my book. It's a big part of that.
Yeah. Why is that important to include, and why overall was this important for you to tell your journalism story?
I believe that you folks out there, and many of those on our social media, rose to the occasion. I got emails, I got text messages, I had my social media blew up with people who were worried about us. And I believe that that constant concern and care from the folks out there lifted me up. I believe that, you know, I wanted to come back. I wanted to show everybody I was going to be okay. I wasn't going to let this driver end my career early. And I really believe it was important to tell that story. And I also believe something else, and I'd like to share that too, and that's that accidents happen in our lives. Not just bad accidents, but accidental things that we didn't plan on. Sometimes follow those, because sometimes that will change the course of your life.
Absolutely. What did you learn when putting your book together, when writing your book, about yourself? And also, when someone reads your book, one of our viewers out there who wants to pick up your book, you can get it now. What do you want them to learn from you, or say, you know, I didn't realize this about Hal Eisner?
Well, I also didn't realize this about Hal Eisner either, that I sat in the front row of so much history in this town. This is almost like a history book.
Oh, yeah.
And all the things from O.J. to Michael Jackson to Columbine to the shootings at Sylmar to all the different things that have happened in this town. I covered those. I covered at least pieces of those stories, but many of them, the whole stories. And I think that, you know, it was a front row to history.
That's amazing. I mean, to think of yourself like that, you are literally walking history, a history book in itself. Who did the artwork? Our producer, Brooke, pointed that out.
Yeah.
Really great sort of water painting look.
It is. It's an oil painting.
An oil painting.
Yeah, and this is a friend of mine, Liat Silvera. She's an artist. She's a fine artist, and she is a fine artist for sure.
Absolutely.
And I asked her, I said, you know, I really didn't want to do a book cover that was just like your standard book cover with me standing in front of a camera holding a microphone, and you know, that's to me that seemed a little bit trite. And I thought, what can I do that's different? And I talked to her about it, and I said, can we figure out some kind of a drawing, a painting, an ink sketch, something? This is what we came up with.
I love it. It's perfect. It fits you so well.
It's cool.
It's super cool. All right, so
cool.
Hal, tell people where they can pick up your book.
Well, right now it's available at Amazon.com.
Okay.
It's available at Barnes & Noble. You go there, and you'll have it on January 27th. At least that's what they tell me. That is the publishing date.
Okay, good.
But it's not in the bookstores yet. I have a lot of salesmanship to do to go from bookstore to bookstore to bookstore.
We're going to help you sell them and find you on social media as well, because they can connect with you there.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my goodness.
Good to see you all.
Thank you for
coming
in.
Take care. Thank you.
I didn't even ask you how retirement is. I know you're loving it.
Retirement's great.
Yeah,
Retirement's wonderful.
All right, Hal. Thanks so much. Thinking of hiking Mount Baldy coming up, you might want to reconsider. Details on the stunning views coming with some serious risks.
As we roll into this weekend, we are expecting that our high-pressure system will still impact our winds. So making it gusty out there, but also keeping this warmer air around for a little bit longer. All those details follow after this break.
New tonight, thinking about hiking Mount Baldy, you might want to think again. Since 2016, 23 people have lost their lives there, including 3 just last month. Now, first responders are urging hikers to approach the mountain with extreme caution. Fox 11's Gina Silva has more from San Bernardino.
I would suggest if you are planning on going hiking, whether it's in the desert, mountains, know what kind of conditions you're going into and be prepared for those conditions.
That advice comes straight from first responders who are regularly called in to rescue hikers on Mount Baldy.
The beauty of it from the Los Angeles Valley makes many people think that they can go up and do a quick day hike, and by the time they're in harm's way, a lot of people continue to get sucked into it because of the beauty of it.
Beautiful, yes, but incredibly treacherous. Snow, ice, and sheer drop-offs make Mount Baldy especially dangerous, where falls are all too common. Just last month, 3 hikers died after falling there. Danny and Manny Vasquez know the dangers firsthand. They were rescued last March after a painful fall.
We ended up falling off of the side of the trail. I fell first. My cousin came and tried to help me, and then we both ended up stranded up there.
I had a collapsed lung. There's actually fluid in my lungs. I had to get a chest tube. Pelvic fracture. I have 3 screws in my hip for the rest of my life now.
Despite such serious injuries, they are lucky to be alive. Since 2016, 23 people have died while hiking Mount Baldy.
It really is a mountaineering type climb, and you should be well prepared and well trained. And wearing correct microspikes, having an ice axe, having a helmet, and not just having that equipment, but knowing how to use it.
Commander Eric Vatier with West Valley Search and Rescue says some hikers head out without proper equipment. And even when they do bring it, they don't always know how to use it.
We see a lot of folks buy stuff off of Amazon and have no idea how to use it. Our mountain communities can be very unforgiving.
Really good advice. Again, if you are coming to Mount Baldy, don't do it right after a storm. It is too dangerous. When you do come prepared with equipment that you do know how to use. I'm Gina Silva, Fox 11 News.
Mammoth Mountain is now completely open after getting over 13 feet of snow this season. Over at Big Bear Mountain Resort, they've doubled the amount of open terrain, even though there's been very little snowfall. They're still making snow at Big Bear and plan to open more areas as the weather allows. Beautiful shots there. Ooh, yeah. Looks cold though. Let's check in with meteorologist Star Harvey. Not cold here where we are, not by a long shot.
No, not at all. You know, we've already seen those temperatures across some of our mountains, like Big Bear, dip below their sub-freezing numbers there. But earlier today, we did have our Big Bear area hit the 50s, and a lot more of us under the command of this high pressure system. Now, with this system, we do continue with its clockwise motion there, allowing for those northeast flows to come through our area. And so with that, it does allow for that offshore flow. So that means winds, but it also means the opportunity to warm us up once those winds do slide down those mountains and do have that compression heating there. So we are going to continue with the Santa Ana winds. They will be below advisory level, at least as of now. We are going to see those winds for tomorrow, but also into the first half of our weekend. If the advisories do go back into place, of course, we'll alert you here. We do have a few more of these warm days in store for us, and this again will lead us into next week. And even with our temperatures dropping off, getting a little bit cooler, they will still be above their averages, and the dry conditions, they will prevail. As far as next week, we should see the cooler conditions around here moving to, I'd say, the end of our week. As far as today went, 84 degrees, very impressive. That placed us 16 degrees above our normal for the LA area. Usually we're at that upper 60 mark. That put us really close to those record temperatures, just 4 degrees off there back in the 2021 year at 88 degrees. Now, as far as our sky conditions, it is going to be dry out there, but making our way through tonight and into tomorrow morning, we are likely to have some of those clouds hanging out along the coast, so near the Long Beach area, but also up towards Santa Barbara, but also moving into our weekend, the first half of our weekend. So the cloud should start to build in late Friday. That's our 11 p.m. hour. And then during the overnight hours, early Saturday morning, we do show some of those clouds popping up, but still a mix of sun and clouds. It is not going to stop us by any measure from our temperatures warming up. So even with the temperatures warming up, here's a look into those gusts wherever we show the colors popping up on our map here. This is where we're expecting our gusts to position themselves. So across a lot of our mountains, our foothills, some of our canyons, our passes off to the east, but also the north and west of the LA area moving into tomorrow, but also the first half of our weekend. So Saturday is going to be one of those days where we could see those gusts lightening up across the area. By the time Sunday rolls around, we may still have some areas here and there that do still have those winds that are in the forecast, but again, below that advisory level as of now. 80 degrees for LA, Inland Orange County area tomorrow, and then as we make our way through the week, take note of those temperatures dropping back down near their averages, but not until the end of next week. Marla.
All right, Sarah, thank you. Last year was one of the hottest on record. NASA says 2025 was slightly warmer than 2023, but the difference falls within the margin of error, making the 2 years essentially tied. Still, 2024 holds the title as the hottest year since record keeping began in 1880. Independent analyses confirm 2025 was the third warmest year ever. Scientists point to a continuing global warming trend as the driving factor behind these record-breaking temperatures. Well, tonight, LA firefighters are taking their case straight to voters. A new ballot campaign is now underway to raise money for more firefighters, newer equipment and aging fire stations. Fox 11's Haley Winslow with more on the story from North Hills.
We're proud to serve the city, but we need your help.
A rare call from those who come to our rescue.
We have half the fire department we need to keep LA safe.
Los Angeles Fire Department is asking for help with a required 150,000 signatures from LA residents who support a half-cent sales tax increase, which for a $5 cup of coffee would be an additional 2 to 3 cents.
This measure, which is led by our firefighters themselves, not City Hall, will dedicate funds to build new stations, upgrade existing ones, and ensure LAFD has the facilities needed to meet the modern demands of tomorrow, not the last century.
Union leaders say LAFD has the same number of firefighters as it did in 1960, but now operates with 6 fewer fire stations and 5 times the call volume, many homeless, than 86 years ago. It also says emergency response times nearly double what national safety standards recommend.
When someone's house is on fire, when a child can't breathe, when a cardiac arrest happens, seconds do matter. We're taking almost 8 minutes to get to you because we do not have enough resources, and that's the truth.
After this increase, we would still be at or below places like Manhattan Beach, Santa Monica, Burbank, Pasadena, and Glendale. They need help.
Protection all around is very important. People don't have a lot of money to give low income. I know they're heroes, the firefighters are heroes, and they deserve a lot of money, but what about us?
If the measure makes it on the November ballot and passes, funding would begin 110 days later. LAFD's wish list, 62 more fire stations, up from the current 106, double the force. Right now, the city has 3,300 firefighters. Twice the equipment and apparatus. And fire trucks, they say, take at least 3 years to get. The union says the money couldn't be used for anything else and would make the city safe. In North Hills, Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
Trading roses for paint brushes, the Bachelor Mansion is getting a dramatic makeover in a brand new show featuring former contestants. We'll tell you what's at stake. If you've ever dreamed of running down the beach in slow motion in a red bathing suit, then this story is for you. Fox is hosting an open call audition for the new Baywatch. Yes, the lifeguards are coming back. The reboot will bring new faces, new adventures, and daring rescues to the screen. It's happening in Marina del Rey on February